Okay. Oh, come on. Why is it doing that? Okay. Couple people there. So I thought we'd start with Checkmate Patterns. So this is a site you can actually use on your own if you want to try that out. You can go to livechess.org here. So it's a free site, and you can sign up for it, and that will enable you to kind of track your own progress, which is kind of nice. But we're going to go to learn and then practice. Hey, Leroy. Good to see you here. Leroy, I assume from Prairie View. I miss you guys there. Be nice to be able to get back to our regular over-the-board chess classes once this pandemonium, if this pandemonium ever clears. All right, let's start with Checkmate Patterns 1. And this one's pretty simple. It's checkmate in 1. So try to make that a little bigger so hopefully you can see those numbers. So it's white to play in a single move. Let everybody kind of think about it for a moment if you like to kind of start off with. And you can just go ahead and type your answer in the chat if you want. It looks like it's pretty visible there. I got a second screen here that I'm kind of looking at the feed and also looking at your answers from the chat. I'm going to turn on some backlighting. Hold on a second. Okay, so white to play and checkmate in a single move. Leroy, I know you know the answer to this. Of course, I think it must be about a 10-second delay because I just saw myself get up and walk away and come back. So probably 5 to 10-second delay. Yeah. Rook E8 is checkmate. So RE8 hashtag is the way we'd write it. So this is called a back rank checkmate, as Leroy certainly knows. All right, so we've got mate in 2 here. Mate in 2. So white to play, and there's actually a couple different ways to play it. But you're going to play white's move, and then black. No matter what you do, it's going to be the same response for black, and then you play your follow-up move, which is checkmate. And this is relatively simple for a mate in 2. But then I think the next one's actually mate in 3. And for some reason, everybody struggles on that one. Hey, oh, hello. Hey, Jackson. Good to see you. We've got a couple of Prairie View students. That's cool. Awesome. Good to see you guys. Have either of you used lichess.org before? It's a good way to practice. If you, if you don't still have your gold membership with Chess Kid, it's a good way to practice your tactics and whatnot. I don't know if you guys still have gold memberships or not. I'm not sure how this is going since I haven't seen you guys since, what would be? I guess it would be March of 2020, before the plague began, if you want to call it that. The plague of whatever it is, where where we don't have our regular lives anymore. So white to play checkmate in 2. I keep on looking away from the screen here because I got my chat over on that side. Does anybody want to answer it? Well, let me just kind of go ahead and show this one here. So we should always consider checking moves. If anytime that we neglect to consider checking moves, yeah, sorry about the lack of the gold membership. Hopefully we'll get back to chess as normal. I haven't played a game over an actual chessboard in so long. It's been all online chess, which is convenient. I'm glad we have that, but it'd be nice to actually be touching some actual chess pieces again. Okay, do you guys want to go ahead and answer this? I know you guys can answer this. Either Jackson or Leroy knows this answer, right? We always consider checking moves. In this case, you can actually play either way. You could sacrifice your queen first, or you could sacrifice your rook first. And either way, it ends up leading to a back rank checkmate. So, a grandmaster, for whatever reason, they like to be flamboyant. So they would probably sacrifice their queen first, and then we have the standard back rank checkmate. So this one, and then this one is just like, it's basically a back rank checkmate, but it's a side rank checkmate. And I'm not gonna bore you guys with this one. We got to consider every possible check. You always need to consider checking moves, and that is checkmate. Okay, now this is mate in 3, so a little bit more challenging. So again, always consider every check. And since we're finding checkmate, it's obviously going to be a checking move. So I'm gonna guess you put your answer already. Somehow I missed your answer. I did see the rook e8 checkmate, but I didn't see the answer for the mate in 2, which I'm sure I know Jackson and Leroy, I know you're strong players. I'm sure you could have found them. So now mate in 3. So white's going to make some move, and black only has one choice of how they can respond. And then white's going to play another move. And again, white only has one choice of how they could possibly respond. And then white plays their final move, which is checkmate. I need to set this up differently next time so that I have the chat like above the camera. So I'm actually looking at the camera rather than peering off to the side over here all the time, trying to look at the chat. In the future, I'll get everybody hooked up with you guys can give me suggestions if you want to try out a different checkmate. Maybe I can scoot this over a little bit so you guys can see some of the options here. And again, you guys could also try this out on your own, this particular program. I had planned on using a different program for this, and it's not working. So it's just kind of like, okay, I have to use lichess because the other program is down for maintenance or something like that. So just kind of an impromptu change in plans. So white to play in checkmate in 3. But this ends up being, since we know it's supposed to be a back rank checkmate, I'm going to jump back real quick and just look at checkmate, a back rank checkmate. So the king is blocked in by his own pawn. So this square here has to be unoccupied, basically. The king has to be kind of pushed back somehow. So why can't I see your answer? I don't, so I'm not seeing, no, Jackson, I did not see your answer. I don't understand why. Huh, why am I not seeing your answer? Maybe you can copy and repaste it. Yeah, I'm not, so I've only seen answers to the very first one. You know, so meh. Put ME8, and then he corrected himself and said ME8 checkmate. But let's go back to the other one. So, so yeah, so the king's got to be pushed back first, and then so I think it's this one here. Is it? No, this one here. No, I don't understand. So why am I not seeing? Yeah, so I didn't see either of your answers for what is going on here. Why am I not seeing the answers? Can I scroll down or something? No. Huh. Okay. Well, you know what? You know what I'm going to do? Give me a second here, and I will. You guys can join the classroom. Let's see. I'm going to go participants and invite, and copy link, and then you could just use this link and join me in the classroom if you have so that's the link, but unfortunately you have to like type that whole thing out, don't you? So you could actually join me in the classroom if you wanted through that, or you can try putting it in again. Try putting it in again and see what happens. I might just have some bugs to work out with this program. I appreciate your patience with this. I'm trying to, it's a new thing for me. I haven't really done the live. I mean, I'm teaching online, but I haven't really done like live sessions all that much. But you guys did solve it then. So let's go ahead and continue then. So if you guys already figured it out, I'll just go ahead and share. So we got to consider every check. So we actually play, well, a lot of people say queen all the way here, but they've got two defenders and we got two attackers. So we can't control that square. Hey, Seon. I'm not sure if I say your name right, but yeah, so queen f7 is the first move. So yeah, we can't play this move because bishop captures, and then of course rook could capture back, and then king captures. But if you play queen f7 first, as Jackson just mentioned, now we can do the sacrifice of the queen, and we've got mate in 2. So nice job there. And then, yeah, I think it should, if you look up, there should be the Zoom link, should be up there above. The trouble is, if I send it through MailChimp, it takes too long to send the email. It would take me like 10 minutes to send, or like well over 5 minutes to try to get that link sent. So this is just a mate in a single move, and so we're so the next couple puzzles are going to be this hook mate, and the important thing to note here is, let me just get something to draw with here. We'll go with a box. So you have the pawn that defends the knight, and then the knight defends the rook. Yeah, so rook f8 is the move, and then we need to try to remember this pattern. We need to try to remember. Need to get my actual mouse back. Remember this pattern for the next several puzzles. So this is the hook. So it's kind of like you imagine the knight, you know, the knight's move defending the knight. The rook is the hook. Okay, so now we're going to try to do that hook mate again. Can I just take those off? No, I need to erase them. So now the hook is actually moved. Can I just move that? I haven't been messing with, no, it's not letting me just move it. Okay. With Zoom that much recently. I've been using another program for most of my classes. So eraser. So the hook is down further now. So the Zoom link, I did just share the Zoom link. I'll try to share it again. For some reason, let me just point something out real quick here. So here is the hook is down here. So here's the base of the hook. So it's going to be this knight here, you know, defended by the pawn, of course, that protects the rook for the final checkmate. Okay, so rook g7, bishop takes g7, rook g7. So rook g7 isn't checkmate, but you're on the right track. So it looks like one of you have already got it. So let's just go ahead and continue. So that is the idea. There's a blocking move that you kind of missed there, but it doesn't really matter. It makes no difference. You know, the rook blocks and he's on, yeah. Okay, so same idea. This is we're doing the same hook mate. We've got the pawn here and the knight are part of the hook. So we don't even need the queen. She's, yeah, we don't need her for the checkmate. Well, I guess we need her to start the checkmate perhaps, but okay. Yeah, I'll send the Zoom link again. Gotta scoot this down. Okay, and I need to keep an eye on participants to see if anybody tries to join the classroom. You still can't see the Zoom link. What? I don't understand what's going on with the YouTube chat because it seems like people are posting answers and they're not showing up. So I posted it again. I'll try to post, I'll just paste. Are we still not seeing the link? You know what? I'm gonna go to Chess Kid, and I will give it to you guys in Chess Kid. So Jackson and so it'll be in your messages, Jackson and Leroy are both preview. There's Leroy message. Whoops. Back. It won't let me put the link into. Oh, come on. Oh, if I type something and then do it probably. Okay, so Leroy, you have it in your messages on Chess Kid. And Jackson, I'll send it to you in a moment. And then I need to go to, where is Jackson? And then I need to go to Libby Center. There's Leroy. There's Jackson. So Jackson, you will have it in just a moment. Jackson, you have it. I'm sorry for those of you watching if you've already solved this, but bear with me for a moment. Oh, there's Leroy. Hello, Leroy.
Hi.
Hey, good to see you. Okay, I need to go to Libby Center real quick. See if I can find. We've got, I think it's mate and 3 on the board here. Still looking for this other. Let me just double check. Yeah, mate and 3. So checkmate. I want to invite this other student here. And I don't see him in the. I'm in Libby Center. I don't see his ChessKit account, so I can't do it that way. Okay, well, darn it. So I'm still watching. Hey, Isaac, good to see you. It won't let you log into ChessKit, Jackson. Yeah, it should just be your. Let me just double check. I think it should just be ICK Jackson. Let me just. Isaac. So can nobody see the chat? So ICK Jackson, and then your password should just be A3B4C6. I hate to say that out loud. Well, it looks like, yeah. Okay, well.
I just posted the Zoom link and like the YouTube chat. Does it show up?
Okay. Hopefully they can get a handle on it. Okay, so because YouTube has a 200 character limit. Well, those aren't 200 characters long though. That's strange. Okay. All right. So I guess Leroy, do you want to solve this one? I will keep an eye on the chat though if you have the answers. And in the future, I will try to make sure I get you the Zoom links. I was hoping we could just do it through YouTube, just one less step. But oh, it looks like somebody else is maybe joining. Those aren't too long though. Hey, there's Jackson. That's strange.
Yes, it let me join finally.
All right. Yeah, thank you for turning off your audio. Yeah, it can be a little bit crazy. Okay, let's go ahead and solve this one. Why don't we? Do you know the answer for this, Jackson or Leroy or somebody in the chat?
I'm looking right now. Give me a second.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Checkmate.
For some reason, I can't seem to find it. Wait, what? Do you?
There's only one checking move, isn't there? I guess there's three checking moves actually. Never mind.
3, but if
but
you
the knight's not going to move, right? Because the knight and pawn was like the base of the hook.
Yeah, but if you stack the queen,
I think I know what you're supposed to do.
Okay, go ahead, Jackson.
Queen to C8 or queen takes C8.
I can't seem
Okay.
And then the king takes the queen.
There's only one checking move, isn't there?
And then
I guess there's three checking moves actually.
And then the rook to
But the knight's not going to move, right? Because the knight and pawn is at the base of the hook. We got to figure something else for the audio. Yeah, so queen captures. King captures.
C8 or queen takes C8.
Okay.
And then
Jackson, you should pause your YouTube audio.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah,
You should
if you
use that one and just have the Zoom audio. Wait, I have a question. On the last puzzle, I have a question.
go ahead.
On the last puzzle, why can't I have just move the king somewhere else instead of taking the queen? Actually, I think.
Okay, let's take a look.
Wait, so okay.
Yeah, so you could have moved. Well, darn it. So
The king
let's
could
go back.
B6, right?
Yeah.
That wouldn't be mate. If the king moved to B6, then that wouldn't be mate. Like, and also this is stockfish. Shouldn't have it run away instead of blundering and then just giving checkmate.
Hmm. What, so let's imagine that he could run to B6 and then what could we do? If he runs to B6, do we have a follow-up?
So what I did was I did queen, just like what you're gonna do, and then the king takes it, and then the rook comes up to E8, and then it's checkmate.
Sure. Well, rook comes up to E8 and then the king steps back to where he is, maybe, and then the rook comes over. Or the king could have went to D7, but I agree with Leroy. Like if the king goes to, okay.
Oh yeah, but queen over is mate. Never mind.
That would be mate anyway.
Yeah,
that would be mate anyway.
Yeah. Okay. I was pushing the bot. Chose to take the queen. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
because if you had moved, it'd be a mate in 1, not a mate in 2. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Also, I think D7 is safe after rook checks. No. D7 wouldn't have been safe. It would have been the same thing. So somebody on YouTube said if he goes to rook to D7, so it would be the same thing. So if we play this and he goes to D7, imagining the king's on D7, this would still be checkmate. It'd still be a hook mate. So, all right, let's go back to Anastasia's mate in 1. Anybody see the mate in 1 here?
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead.
It's very simple.
Yeah, just rook to. The two of you might as well tell me with audio. So I have one less chat that I have to watch. Okay, so mate in 2 now. So white to play and it's mate in 2. And I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. We'll get kind of the bugs ironed out here. I might end up using a different platform than Zoom. This was just a free way for me to do this.
Sorry, it's like lagging on my screen, so I thought you were done talking.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say the answer.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
that's
me
fine.
too.
Queen takes H7, and then the king takes the queen, and then the plays on H5.
Yeah. So we always consider every check and rook H6.
I feel like these positions are like a bit like kind of like I guess I mean like I know that they're like a thing that like somebody else made other than like us, but like why would you on like those back rank mates like for black and white, both of them were made in 1, so I assume like if these were real players they'd probably be like rated like 400.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to teach you kind of the basics.
Yeah, I know, but like
So actually, prior to seeing these Anastasia's mate on live chess, I'd never forced a Anastasia's mate, but since I've seen them, I've actually been like, oh, you know what? If I could just get them to move, their bishop out of the way, then I could force an Anastasia's mate. So like I end up sacrificing my bishop, or I sacrifice a piece to get their bishop out of the way. And then I'm able to play the checking move with a knight. Then I'm able to sacrifice, and then I'm able to actually do the Anastasia's mate. So kind of familiarizing yourself with these different checkmating patterns, I think is extremely healthy. And then also giving a name to them really helps like store it in your head. I'm not seeing.
I think I know the
Yeah, me too.
chat. Okay.
Well,
we both do. Leroy, you can tell this one because I did the last one.
Oh,
Sounds good.
Knight check on e7, and then same thing as last one. Queen takes, king takes, and then rook. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Jackson, you can do this one. This is pretty similar. So same idea. Or unless somebody wants to put it in the chat. I don't know. I am watching the chat. There hasn't been anything new in the YouTube chat.
Yeah, it's just the same thing, but instead of the queen capturing diagonal, it's just capturing up.
Sure.
It's the knight check on e2, and then the king moves, and then the queen takes. Yep, and then the same rook. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay, new checkmate pattern, blind swine mate. I think this is actually in 3 moves. Let me see here. I guess I can make this full screen since our pictures are over top anyway, or at least mine is. Yeah, checkmate in 3 moves.
Yeah,
that one.
All right, gentlemen, let's just give it a second though. Let's give so I think that YouTube is lagging like 5-7 seconds behind. So let's give everybody on YouTube some time to think about it before we answer it. It looks like it's maybe lagging behind a little more than that because I still see an Anastasia's mate up there.
I'm pretty sure YouTube has maybe it's also lagging, but YouTube has a slow chat feature which makes the chat the thing come out a certain amount of time after it, and maybe you have it enabled, or maybe it's just the lag or glitchiness.
Yeah, I think for next week's, I haven't really gotten responses on what time I should do it next week, but so yeah, so RG7 check, and then the king goes, so it's YouTube chat. I'm not sure, it's like Sayan, I'm not sure I'm saying his name right. Yeah, so rook takes G7 check, the king goes to H8, and then what do we play?
The other rook, wait. Oh, you would just, oh, it's checkmate in 3, okay.
Rook H7.
And then rook H7, and then the other rook comes over.
Yeah, so the final checkmate, so Criplex. Wait, it's Isaac? Which Isaac is that? Because the Isaac that I thought it was, he would definitely know how to write it. But you're on the right track. So go ahead. I don't know whose turn it is. Is it Leroy's turn or Jackson's?
Leroy didn't. No, I did the last.
Okay, go ahead, Leroy.
Oh, well, you just move the rook. Well, the only rook move to check the king.
Mm-hmm.
And then the only move is to the corner of H8, and then you would, and then the same rook you would check it. You would move it to that pawn again, check, and then only one place, and then you move the other rook over, and that's checkmate.
Yep. So this is the blind swine mate. We're going to see some more complicated variations of this, so you kind of have to remember this portion of it in order to solve the rest of the puzzle. So this, once you've seen it, I mean, this portion of it is somewhat simple. But I think, yeah. So now thinking about the blind swine mate. Isaac. Okay, cool. From slipping my mind. From Clayton. Cool. Yeah. So let me write it down in the chat. So it would have been talking about the last one. So everybody can think about this one for a few minutes. For a few moments, and I'm going to write down the answer to the last one, how you would write the notation. So it would have been rook takes G7, G7 check, and then they would have had to play King H8, and then you would play Rook takes H7 plus. Where's the plus? Over here. And then the king would go back to G8, and then you would say, I don't remember where the other rook was. It would be rook. So you'd have to say the rank that the other rook was, because they were on a different file. So maybe he was on C. I'm just going to say he was on C. He might have been, oh wait, he was on B. Sometimes it's nice that YouTube is lagging. Rook B to G7. So it's kind of tricky because both rooks, so you can't say just rook to G7. You have to say which rook to G7, and it has to be the B rook. So that's what it would be. Okay. So what do we think here? What do we play? Anybody? In this new one here.
Well, I only know the first move, but
okay. What would you say the first move is?
There's really only one check. That's basically it.
Yeah.
It's just the rook.
Yeah, you're trying to get your rooks on the same rank again. So he pushes over, and now, what do we do next? I mean, this is probably fairly obvious, but what move would we play here?
Right.
Oh, I already got water. I appreciate all your patience with this. This isn't actually the program I was planning on doing today. The other program was not working. So I was like, light chess. Okay, we'll use that. And I recommend light chess if you haven't been using that. It's a pretty cool program. You got all these different checkmate patterns you can practice. Definitely healthy for your game. It's lichess.org, I believe.
I actually use that for all my chess right now. Like, I use it for the tournaments. I also use it for just playing chess in general. And yeah, these other ones, like, I sometimes use chess.com, but that requires like to have all the features you need, like, to spend money. Yeah.
Okay, so Leroy, what would you play here, or Jackson, either one of you? Actually, Isaac just told us from the chat, so we'll just go with that. So he says rook down. He means rook C7, and now they're just sacrificing because they know they're in big trouble. And so our knight is, because our knight is here, it makes things a lot nicer. If the knight wasn't here, it wouldn't have worked out, but the knight is taking away that square, and now we just do that checkmate. So we're still doing the blind swine mate. But actually, this one's tricky because, so this is definitely a tricky one. What is it? What is it? I think it's mate. Is it mate in 3? Can't see the bottom. Why isn't it not letting me see the bottom? I guess I'll make it smaller for a second, and then maybe I can see it. Mate in 5. Okay. So this kind of involves 2 checkmates at once. So you got the blind swine mate idea, because and because our knight is guarding the F8 square, that's one option. They can't take the knight because of the blind swine mate. Yeah, so somebody says capture the rook with the knight, but let me continue. So there's another checkmate involved here, and it's called the Arabian Mate. And the Arabian Mate is where you have an undefended knight that is, well, it doesn't have to be undefended, but you have a knight that is working in conjunction with a rook. So there's a way that we can threaten this checkmate, and let me remember how that. So if we,
would you take the rook using the knight, and then, well, that'd be a very that would be checkmate, but it'd be pretty long. I'm not sure if it would be a mate in 5. And yeah, and if they don't take, isn't it just automatically winning for white or something?
So, um, so you're saying knight takes, and then if king takes,
And
so
then rook
so
over check, and then well
can they
then
just step? Then they just step to F or G7 though.
I have an idea.
I like so. Isaac and from the chat says, "Bring the rook down." I think. Is he talking about? So you're saying like what? So let's think about rook. What about rook to?
D8, because if you did rook to D8, then the other rook would have to take it, right?
wait, wouldn't it
Where's
just
rook
be
in
the knight takes rook? Because if the king doesn't take, then it's basically checkmate once rook takes the pawn, and if it does take, then it's also checkmate after you after you move the rook to check.
But remember, the king could just move down to G6 or G7 once it took.
No, because the rook wouldn't. The two rooks would stay on the 7th rank. You just have the knight take the rook.
So I know what it is now, and I can't believe it took me this long. But so there's 3 things that I always talk about that we should always consider, and I guess I'm going to write it down on the side here while you guys continue to think about it. So we should always consider and so this first one is actually not involved with the first move, but we should always look for every check that you can play, and there are no checks in this case. Number 2 is we should consider every capture, which is important in this case. And then 3 is loose and semi-loose pieces. So these are the 3 things that generate all tactics. But really, what I realized is that I needed to consider capturing moves. And I know we all considered capturing the rook because, well, it's a rook and we all like to take rooks.
Wait, I have an idea for the checkmate.
Yeah.
Wait, so if you move the D rook or any, it has to be the D rook. So if you move the D rook up to D8, then their rook will capture it, because if it doesn't, then we'll just take it with our rook that is now up there. And then
it'll be checkmate. Yeah.
And if they capture it, then we could take it with our knight. And then it would just be a knight and a rook versus a king. And you could somehow.
So we considered taking the rook, but did we consider taking the pawn? Try to think about what happens if you capture the pawn. Imagine that. I'd missed that for a long time, but I think that's the right scenario. Do you see how that works out? So.
Oh, I see it now. So you take the pawn, and then the rook takes it, and then the rook goes down. That's check. And then if you block it with the rook, next move's checkmate. If you take it, no, wait, you have to block with the rook, and then you can just checkmate there. Yeah.
Yep, that's it. Yeah, it's kind of tricky. So it's supposed to be a blind swine mate, but whoops, I need to get my actual mouse back. It's supposed to be a blind swine mate, but it actually ends up being so he doesn't do anything because she knows he's toast. So as you said, Leroy, if he captures the rook, then we just play rook to B8, and there's no escape for the king because the knight's covering this square. So he's got to block with the rook, and then we just take the rook. So he's trying to make that happen here. So we can't take the pawn. Where should we go, gentlemen?
We're in check, right?
We're in check. We don't want to take the pawn there. That would be a bad idea. Where should we go?
Just go to H3. Yeah,
I think H3 is the safest choice there. And now it ends up being a blind swine mate, right? So now we just continue. With rook to G7, and then the knight covers that square. So this is the blind swine checkmate. That
And
was
could
a
you
tricky one.
also do it with the other way that I said?
Let's take a look. So
You could
you're
also,
saying
yeah, move it up one, and then,
you should do this?
yeah, and then the rook will take, and we could take with the knight, and then that would just be, we could just move the knight back, and then you could do the same thing.
Well, he could
No,
do.
because pawn would just capture. Pawn would just capture, and then the king, I don't think you can trap him with just your rook.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so we got to play this move, and then there's just really nothing you can do about it. Okay, so this is a fairly simple, yeah, so we already got the correct answer. Yeah, we got the correct answer from the chat already, so Seon got it. Yeah, so this is a smothered checkmate, and this, so our next four, we're going to be based on this one, but I think the fourth one is going to be really tough. So this is mate in two, you know, not super difficult, but we'll take a little time to think about it. And so gentlemen in here with me in the classroom, let's give everybody a little more time because we got this this lag. We're going to give the YouTube people some time to think about it.
Can I put it in the Zoom chat?
Let me see if I can move the Zoom chat to my other screen real quick. Got to remember, I haven't been using Zoom very much recently. I've been doing all my classes on this other platform. It's a Zoom-like platform. So I need to find my chat here. Oh, there we go. How do I get to my chat? I don't remember. Where is the chat in Zoom?
Oh, you have to press Alt. Click on Zoom once, press Alt, and then the participants chat and share screen will show.
Oops. Yeah, you know what? You can put it in the chat, and I'll just try to move it over to the other screen. Okay, so participants. More, oh, it's just more, I guess. It's not okay. There's the chat, and I'll throw the chat on my other screen. Okay, so you guys can, yeah. So you guys can just put it in the chat. That would be better, actually, if you just put it in the chat. That way, it's not giving it away to the YouTube audience. Yeah, so that's correct. Well, we can't play knight at take, so okay. So Seon was just fixing his notation there. All right. So leaving it up for YouTube as far as I think, yeah. Got some music in the background. So the same idea here. I think, so we still want to play knight to f7. So essentially the queen is overworked kind of, or well, yeah, the queen is overworked because she's got to guard f7 because the knight will go there. And if the queen was just gone, if we imagine, I can't take the black queen away, but if the queen wasn't there, then queen takes f7 would be checkmate. So what we have is an overworked piece, which many of you have heard of before. The queen has to defend two squares at the same time. She can't do it, so we get to sacrifice our queen. And as both Jackson and Leroy have already pointed out, that leads to this checkmate here. Okay, so same idea. We've got a checkmate in one. Oh, this is checkmate in two again. Yeah, this is another mate in two. So, and it's a smothered mate. So smothered mate is always done with a knight. I actually saw a couple smothered mates today. Excuse me. Oh, cool. Yeah, grab it, jump in, join us. Yep, smothered mate. Yep. Yep, very good, Leroy. That is correct. So mate in two moves. And it's almost like, is it almost like a clearance sacrifice too? No, I guess not. So clearance sacrifice like is when you have a piece that's in your way, and the queen's not exactly in our way. Very good. So Sam, oh hey Sam, good to have you. Yeah, that works. So yeah, the queen drops down, and that was the only way they could capture because the bishop was defending. That's important that you remember that you got to have a piece defending it. Otherwise, if the king would have been able to capture the queen, this wouldn't have worked. But that is a smothered checkmate. And now this one is tricky. Okay, I think there's actually two different ways to do it, but I think it's like mate in 5. Let me see. Mate in 6. Yeah, this is mate in 6. So it might take us some time to think about it, but we're looking for the smothered mate. So there's no queen. You need to hang on to your knight. If you come up with a move that has to do with losing your knight, well, that's not going to work. I'll try to send that again and see if I can paste it again. I keep on trying to put it into the chat. So it's still not showing up. I put it in like 4 times now. So next week I will I'll try to start a little early so that I can email you guys all the link. So basically, well, I guess I can start the start the Zoom meeting early and send out the link through email, and then I'll start streaming after that. So yeah. Okay. There's actually a couple different ways that you can start, but it ends up being kind of the same. Or wait, is there a couple ways you can start? Yeah, there's a couple different ways you can start. The first move is, there's 2 choices on this one. So it's mate in 6, but which seems daunting. That seems like a bit much. Like, okay, wow, we went from mate to 2 to mate in 6. But if you kind of understand how smothered mates work, it's not that hard. A lot of times in a smothered mate, it's a knight and queen combination a lot of times, and you can force your opponent to go where you want them to go, because if they don't go that way, well, then it's checkmate 2.
Wait,
go ahead.
I think the first move, you would move your knight to d8. So then
because if you go d8, then the king can just capture your knight.
Oh
if
yeah.
You go to D8,
well, no, I was thinking of like a way to like get the queen. But if the bishop wasn't there, that's what I was thinking. If like the bishop
Yeah.
Okay, I found the first 2 moves, I think.
Okay, can you put them in the chat so we can give YouTube a chance to think about it?
Oh wait.
So I did put the link. Still cannot see it. So Cyan, can you? It is a discover check. Cyan, can you message me in Chess Kid? So I'll check the Chess Kid. If you're able to send me a message in Chess Kid, I will send the link to you in Chess Kid. Although I think we're only going for about another 12 minutes. So yeah, so that is the first move, or that's one of the options. So we've got, one of our friends here in YouTube did say knight c5. Interestingly, you could also play this move. Either one of these works. It kind of leads to the same thing.
Yeah, I was just about to say knight to c5.
Yeah, so either of those moves work first. They both kind of lead to the same thing. And so if you move to either one of those squares, the king has to go to b8. because if he goes to D8, you just checkmate him on the next move. So, you know, if you put your knight on F8 and he moves to D8, then queen to D7 is checkmate. Same thing for C5. So he's forced to go back here. So now imagine from there. Yeah, so you are right. That knight C5 is correct for the first move. Or like I said, you could actually move knight to F8, which is crazy, but it does work as well. Okay.
I think I've got like nearly the entire thing done now. Nearly the
Okay.
entire.
Yeah.
Me too.
Okay. Well, why don't you gentlemen send it to me in the chat, because you guys got like a 20-second lead on YouTube.
Yeah, I know.
So I know it's a bit tedious to write out all those moves, but it's good practice anyway. So, you know, doing the notation, I think a lot of students miss the fact that kind of forcing yourself to work through that notation will help you visualize the board. You know, you when you have to do that, you have to get those letters and numbers straight for the coordinates. It's gonna help you build a better picture in your mind when you go into your own mind making moves that aren't happening on the board. When you're trying to see the future, you're trying to move down, you know, a lot of times you end up closing your eyes. And now if you have the coordinates in your mind, you can actually see the board and you can see what squares are corresponding to what squares. If you never practice that sort of thing, you can't do it. Okay, I see it. So, I think you mean knight C5 for the first move, but sure. But queen F5.
It's queen F5 because if you don't go to queen F5, it's mate on next turn because of the queen. Yeah, if you move there, wait, would it? Oh, never mind.
Okay.
Wait,
yeah, no.
never mind. Wait, give me a second.
I think would he sacrifice this knight? So maybe that seems crazy to sacrifice the queen so early, though. I don't know.
Well, no, because
well, let's just play. Let's go ahead and play this move. I want to play this one though. I know you guys are right with knight C5, but this one's kind of crazy. So they do sacrifice the queen. So yeah, so they play queen C5, and then it seems crazy, but this is kind of a known pattern. So I guess they're just assuming that we know the pattern. So they're sacrificing their queen. But that's I would like to continue to visualize from here. So obviously we play queen captures queen. Okay, but I don't want to play that move because I want us to try to see the future a little bit. So yeah, so yeah, I think you're right. So so Sayan in the chat. You know, they played the queen sack first because they know that they'd have to go to B8. So let's imagine. So, you know, we take the queen, which forces the king to go to B8. The king can't go to D8 because if he does, we just checkmate him right away with queen to D7 checkmate. So he goes to B8, then what do we play? So imagine the king's on B8.
After this, can you try to see if mine was right as well? Because I think.
Oh yeah, I'll take a look. Yeah. No, no, yours is absolutely right. Yeah, you got it. Yep, that's the sequence. So yeah, queen takes F5, king goes to B8. I just don't want to play it out until we've everybody's kind of solved it, because the point is to try to get the visualization to work. And I need to put my chat above my camera, so I'm actually looking at the camera instead of always looking off to the side. Not very good screen presence or whatever. Knight B6, I think you mean. Okay, I think most of us see it now. So let's just go ahead and continue. And you know, the reason we could have gone to C5 as well is because both squares lead to this square. And now we play the double check, which I think, yeah, everybody's somebody said king B6. I see Sam. Sam, it's been too long since you've been in a chess class. Knights with an N. So the double check, and Sam is a phenomenal chess player. It's just probably just and now in the knight to d7. Yeah, so it would be, so we use a N for knight. We use N for knight. So then, the queen is protected, which is important. I mean, if the king was just able to capture the queen, then that doesn't work. But then, yeah, that ends up being checkmate.
Wait, so then the knight c5 one, that would have been.
So knight c5 would have worked just the same. It would have been exactly the same thing. Let's take a look at it again. Why won't it let me go back?
After that, you see that thing? Yeah, that works as well. Never mind.
Yeah, so you could have played knight c5 works just the same because it leads to the same. I mean, you have to be able to get to this square here for the check. So I just knight to this f8 seemed even more ridiculous, is why I wanted to do that. I was like, oh, you could do it that way too. And now we're able to play it. It's the same sequence. It's just, I just like that. I like that f8 was a more ridiculous square to go to because there was like a whole army that could capture it there. Yeah, so we could do it either way. Okay, so let's go. So we have a couple more minutes. Let's take a look. So again, this is livechess.org for those of you who, if you don't have access to, a gold membership on ChessKit, or, you don't have a chess.com, paid membership, there's a lot of things you can practice here. So you don't even have to sign in. If you don't want to create an account, you can go to learn, and then we were just doing practice or sort of learn, and then there's these different checkmate patterns. I recommend that you just learn all of these checkmate patterns because it's just going to teach you to, once you kind of remember these patterns, then you're going to be able to see like approximations of them on the chessboard. You're like, oh, well, this is almost a double bishop mate. If only this piece wasn't there, like, oh, wait a second, I could sacrifice my queen, and if they actually take my queen, then here I go. I've got this checkmate that I've actually happened to memorize, and this has happened for me. I've gone over this material, and then I'm doing it something. I'm like, wait a second, I can actually just take his rook, and then if he takes me back, then I've got a smothered mate. So you're able to, when you memorize all these different checkmate patterns, you just have all these like weapons. You're like this, this character in some sort of battle game or something like that, and you've got like swords and machine guns and all these. They're actually just checkmates and tactics that you have, but you have all this stuff kind of just stowed away in your brain, and it opens the door for your own creativity. So yeah, so this one's pretty simple. Let's just go with it. So I mean, it's just a mate and one. This is just a mate and one. Let's look at something a little bit more challenging for the last one. So mate and two here, and this is I would call this an X-ray attack. I like it. They're calling it a double bishop mate, but I would call it an X-ray attack. I'll clear that up if you have any questions about that in a moment.
Should I just put the answer in the chat?
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yep. And I did send an email out on what day kind of works best for everybody next week. So, if you want to, I promise it will be better next week. Every week it'll get a little bit better. We'll have this a little better organized each week. It's a little bit, yeah. I'm rusty with Zoom. A few months ago, I was using Zoom all the time, but now my main job, I'm using something called Class In, which is actually like a better form of Zoom, but I can't share live through that. So yeah, I want to try to kind of promote my channel at the same time as do this. So that's why I would like it to be linked to YouTube. Yeah, so this is check and then checkmate. It's mate and 2. And I call it an X-ray attack because, well, this bishop is kind of attacking that pawn. I mean, he can participate in the attack on that pawn. And an X-ray attack is always a checking move as far as I've ever seen. So we can actually, because this bishop is, the king has nowhere to go. He has no escape squares. So as Leroy's already pointed out, or actually Jackson, both of them have, we can actually just go ahead and capture that pawn, and then the X-ray portion comes in, and that is checkmate. Let's go ahead and call it for today. Like I said, just kind of get back to me on when we should do the next class. I sent an email out a couple days ago, kind of asking what would work for everybody. And I definitely will do it a little bit differently next week, as far as trying to get my students involved with the conversation a little more, because the YouTube thing, it's kind of unfortunate that we're not, some of the answers aren't even showing up there. Okay. All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me. And I hope to meet with you all next week. And some of you, hopefully I'll see you in person in just a few weeks. So just a kind of an update. My son just had surgery today. Actually, so they actually opened him up and, went inside his chest. And so he had a hole in his diaphragm, but the hole was actually pretty small. It was only maybe about that big, a little smaller than that actually. So they just used a Gore-Tex patch that was about that big. And so, they had to pull his stomach out of his chest. I mean, his stomach was up inside his chest, his intestines were inside his chest, and his spleen was inside his chest, which was all putting pressure on his lungs. So his lungs weren't able to form properly. So they're slightly small, but they're actually not too bad. The doctor was pretty happy. I guess he's got 70% of one lung size and about 30% of the other lung, which is better than we thought, considering all the organs that were inside his chest cavity. So the doctor had to pull his intestines out of his chest, his stomach out of his chest, and his spleen out of his chest, make sure the intestines were in the right shape, so they're not twisted around each other, and then sew that Gore-Tex patch in. And he thinks that, it's kind of the best possible scenario for such a kind of crazy case. So hopefully within a month or so, we can take him home. He's going to be in the hospital for probably a solid month now, but yeah, so things are looking up anyways. And I will probably be coming back to Washington here in just about 2 weeks. So yeah, and then I'll be able to see some of you in person. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining me. It's been a pleasure, and I'll see you all later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.